Today, we're going to be taking a look at some amazing fan-made original creations for some chapters. They're pretty good. They're all pretty well done, so let's take a look at them. Kings and queens, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. And we are going to be looking at some fan-made killer concepts to come into DBD. With all the talk of the mid-chapter and the mid-chapter patch being just around the corner, it means that next up is the brand new chapter for Dead by Daylight. And we've been pretty much spoiled with back-to-back licenses, so it's more than likely that the next chapter could be original. Now, this isn't confirming it or anything like that, but it does set up the potential that it's more than likely to be an original character. So I thought it'd be great to take a look at some awesome fan-made creations and how they would actually work in the game. We've made a lot of videos similar to this on the licensed side of things, but never on the original side of things. So in today's video, that's what we're going to be focusing on. I also urge you guys to come on out to stream. We are live right now as you're watching this video. We're currently playing with Polyester and Dylan in some Survive with Friend games in preparation for the Into the Fog stream that is going to be happening on the 23rd. Make sure you guys do come on out. The link will be in the description down below. It's going to be a great time. And also, don't forget to take a look at all of the creators of these chapters. That'll be linked down below. And speaking of, fan-made chapters are coming back very soon. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump on in to these awesome concepts. So the first chapter we have on the list is the Impaler, and you might notice that image. This is based upon the whole vampire theory. We made a video on it covering all of this, and Awesome Alan decided to take this into their own hands and make a fantastic little read for us on what this chapter could potentially look like coming into the game. Now, in my opinion, the vampire coming into the game, or Vlad the Impaler, is one of the front runners when it comes down to the original content, just because of the amount of information we've been getting on the tomes. So this could likely end up in the game. So let's go ahead and read this concept, and make sure you guys go show some love to Awesome Alan. We featured a lot of their work before. Absolutely fantastic. Let's jump on into it. The power for this killer is Vampiric Swarm. Press and hold the power button to transform into a bat. As you transform, a swarm of bats surrounds and engulfs you. Press and hold the power button again to return to your normal form. As the swarm of bats, you can move at an increased speed, and survivors within 32 meters have their location revealed to you by Killer Instinct. You cannot attack survivors while in this form. Your special ability is Feeding Frenzy. While Vampiric Swarm is active, approach a survivor who is in the healthy, injured, or dying state to perform the feed action and inflict them with vampirism. Vampirism grows deadly over time, and if unchecked, you can completely corrupt the survivor and turn them into a loyal servant. Survivors can cure vampirism by drinking blood orbs dropped in the environment by the Impaler when stunned. One blood orb drops per stun and disappears after a certain amount of time. Here are the different stages. At stage 1, inflicted survivors will growl loudly when near another survivor. At stage 2, inflicted survivors reveal other survivors to you with Killer Instinct when nearby. And at stage 3, inflicted survivors will succumb fully to vampirism, becoming a vampire. This brings on the special enemy, vampires. Survivors who reach this stage are considered to be sacrificed, losing control, and left to wander the map as bloodthirsty vampires. A vampire can injure and infect a survivor with vampirism. Vampires have their aura shown to the Impaler. What an interesting power. If you manage to go into stage 3, you actually work for the killer and become a vampire. It would be really cool and a really interesting concept to see something like that. I know a long time ago, a lot of people were talking about clones coming into Dead by Daylight, or a killer that can transform and clone themselves into another survivor, and this is a very similar concept to that, except it's a little bit twisted with the whole vampire stuff going on. It really is amazing. Let's take a look at the morgue. The Impaler kneels down towards a down survivor, examining their neck closely as they struggle. The Impaler smirks before ripping the head of his prey clean off. As blood starts to pour out from the neck, the Impaler grabs his chalice and fills it to the very top, drinking to celebrate his victory. Pretty gruesome Mori. Let's take a look at some of these perks. The first one is Lurking Presence. Whenever you damage a generator, lockers within 24 meters become blocked by the entity and are unusable for 16 seconds. Any survivor hiding within one of the blood blockers will perform a rushed exit. When a survivor exits the locker by any means, they suffer from the hindered status effect for 16 seconds. Pretty cool. We don't really have a perk that really affects lockers all too much on the killer side, so this would be pretty cool, with an exception of few of them, but this one would be pretty cool. The next one is Hex Dark Shroud. For every 60 seconds that the totem remains standing, gain a token. At 1 token, survivors suffer from a decreased point of view. At 4 tokens, the height and thickness of the fog is increased up to 60%, and at 7 tokens, survivors suffer from the Oblivious status effect. When the totem is cleansed, all survivors suffer from the Oblivious status effect for 45 seconds. So this one's pretty cool. It really affects your view on things, as the name implies a dark shroud, and it does seem really cool. The final perk on the list is Hemophobia. When a survivor is healing themselves by any means, failing a skill check will reset their healing progress by 50, 75, and 100%. When your obsession is healing other survivors, failing a skill check will reset the same amount of healing progress and reveal the obsession's aura for 10 seconds. This is pretty cool. I absolutely love this. This would be a fantastic perk, not only for healing, but for all other actions. A well done killer concept, again by Awesome Alan. Make sure you go and show this some love. Again, I think the vampire is one of the leaders when it comes down to the original characters, so this can indeed happen. This could be potentially what we see in the game. Alrighty, so here is the next original chapter. This is done by the Detonator, and wow, this is just amazing. Aesthetically, it looks phenomenal. And this is called the Countess. Now, this is a mixture of a vampire-ish type of killer as well as a cultist in a way. As you guys know, a lot of the lore that's been currently going around and everything that's in the tome really talks about a lot of spiritual things. It talks about the Black Veil, cult worshippers of the entity, and this kind of fits in right there. So it could give us a vague idea of what a chapter like that could look coming into the game. It really does make sense, especially if we get boon totems coming out and all of that. We won't go down that rabbit hole. Let's take a look at this wonderful concept. So the power is called Dark Mistress. After you basic hit a survivor, gain a blood token up to a maximum of 3 tokens. While you have 2 or more blood tokens, press the power button to consume all your blood tokens and activate your Dark Mistress power. For each blood token consumed, Dark Mistress duration is increased by 20 seconds. While using your Dark Mistress power, you cannot gain blood tokens. Here's where the special abilities come in. While Dark Mistress is activated, hold power button to drain a survivor within a vision of 16 meters. Completing the drain progress on a survivor will cause him to enter the dying state. While using Drain Life, the Countess movement speed is reduced. By default, it will take 16 to 20 seconds to fully drain. When Dark Mistress power wears off, all survivors lose drain progress. The next power is Blood Travel. At the start of the trial, there will be 4 blood fountains scattered across the map. You'll be able to see their auras from any distance. While your power meter is full and you have at least 2 blood tokens, hold the active ability button while looking at the blood fountain and teleport to the fountain. Consumes 2 blood tokens. Power meter then is set to 0. This takes 60 seconds to regenerate to full. So wow, this is a fantastic power. It has the map pressure. It can one-shot down survivors. It's already sounding pretty good, and lore-wise, it does make a lot of sense. Let's take a look at some of these perks. The first one on the list is Call for Blood. After you damage a generator, you can see the auras of injured survivors within the range of 16 meters for the next 20 seconds. Call for Blood has a cooldown of 70 seconds. So this is really cool. As soon as you basically damage a generator, anyone that's injured around you will be able to see if they're close enough. The next one is called the Masquerade. After you hook a survivor, all injured survivors that are further than 40 meters from the hook gain the Broken and Hemorrhage status effect for 20 seconds. If you hook another survivor during this time, this effect doesn't activate. The Masquerade has a cooldown of 80 seconds. So another wonderful perk. And the final perk on the list is Lust for Pain. Your obsession with harvesting blood from human cattle has made you extremely aggressive. You pick up and hook survivors 40% faster. Additionally, the duration of pallet stuns when carrying a survivor is reduced by 80 seconds. So this is kind of a boost of speed, also combined with enduring in case you ever get pallet stunned. This is a fantastic concept, and I absolutely love this. The Countess would be amazing in DBD, and the concept just looks absolutely fantastic. Like, it looks like it's just supposed to be in the game. You can see the way Drain Life looks, you can see how the Blood Fountain looks, and the beautiful weapon that would come with this chapter. Again, a wonderful job done. Make sure you check out the Detonator 88 for this fantastic chapter. They posted this over a year ago, and it still holds its time for now. It is absolutely amazing. Go and show it some love. And the final concept that we have on the list is the Mimic. Again, this is by Awesome Allen. Their chapters are just absolutely fantastic. I did find a lot of other cool concepts. However, there were a lot of vampire-themed things, and I figured we already did 2 of them, so we can show some love to another chapter. And in a future video, we can pick up on some of those other amazing original chapters. Again, if you want to submit any of these as well, you're more than welcome to in our Discord. Let's talk about this one. So what we have here is the Cannibal's Cry. Press and hold the power button to replace your terror radius with the sounds of injured survivors for a period of time. When you hit a survivor while the ability is active, you let out the scream of that survivor as if they were hooked, audible across from any distance. This ability must be recharged after the duration has ended. When you hook a survivor while Cannibal Cry is active, all other survivors outside of your terror radius gain the blindness and hindered status effect for 8 seconds. The special ability is Wendigo Psychosis. When using Cannibal's Cry, press the active ability button to replace it with Wendigo Psychosis for the remaining time. While active, all survivors' auras are revealed to each other, but their auras take the form of the Mimic, and they will each emit your terror radius. Your aura is also shown during this time, but all auras will only be shown outside 40 meters, allowing for uncertainty when close. This ability supersedes all survivor aura reading perks and ability during this time. Recharging will not start until either ability's durations have ended. After hooking a survivor, either ability will end and will need to recharge. This is a fantastic power so far. A Mimic, as we spoke about, but in a really reimagined way. Rather than turning into another survivor, you're basically baiting the survivors into thinking that you're another survivor, hence the Cannibal Cry. Let's take a look at the next special ability, which is the Crouching ability. Hold and press the active ability button while not using Cannibal's Cry to crouch and reduce your terror radius to 0 meters. No movement for 5 seconds while crouch will increase your terror radius to 12 meters and will be replaced with generator sounds. When uncrouching, your movement speed is reduced slightly for 4 seconds. This is fantastic. I absolutely love this. You're literally just being like I forgot what the actual term is, but one of those killers, a Skincrawler. You're basically being a Skincrawler and disguising yourself essentially as one of the survivors and trying to trick them. Let's take a look at these perks. The Butterfly effect is the first one. For every action the survivor take, their death approaches. Every time a survivor stuns you with a pallet, you'll gain a token up to a maximum of 5 tokens. For every token, your bloodlust movement speed is increased by 10%. You lose a token for every missed basic attack. So quite interesting. The next one is Last Resort. You start the trial with 3 tokens. Every time you sacrifice a survivor, the perk activates for 12 seconds and a token is consumed. While active, the auras of any survivors hiding in lockers are shown and will continue to show even if they leave. And the final perk is Hex Deception. This Hex totem appears as a dull and renders 2 of the nearest generators completely invisible to all. The generators cannot be interacted with or collided with. If this is cleansed, and there is another active Hex totem on the map, 1, 0, 1, or 2 are chosen to appear as a dull totem. So this is a really interesting perk. Generators will be completely invisible, and this works extremely well with your power where you can make generator noises. It will really stop a lot of the generators from popping left and right, but it will definitely be interesting to see how that would work with other perks such as Corrupt Intervention. This was made a very long time ago, almost over 2 years ago, so the balancing side of things isn't really there, but it still is a cool chapter nonetheless. But my friends, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. This was absolutely fun reading these fantastic creations by you guys. Make sure you guys go and support all of the creators down below because, man, these are some great chapters that they've come up with, or paragraphs, I should say. Make sure you go and show them some love. Don't forget, we are currently live on Twitch playing with Polly and Dylan, so it'll be awesome for you guys to come on out. That's going to do it for me. I hope you guys did enjoy. As always, I'm the King. I tip my crown to you guys, and we'll see you in the vlog.